Hello and welcome back to a DJI Neo drone video. Now firstly I just want to thank you all for liking, commenting and subscribing to my channel. It is a massive help and it is great to interact with you all and also correct me when I make mistakes, as you've probably seen in previous videos. But this video, I was trying to think of another video I could do for you, and obviously when you've talked about settings and hardware and flown it around a little bit, it's sort of difficult to try and think of something a bit different and new. But sometimes videos sort of come out of nowhere and present themselves, which is what you're about to see now. Now I ended up doing a bit of a hike up Roseberry Topping, which is in Middlesbrough, and right at the very end of my little hike I decided to take the Neo up and try and get a few sort of point of interest shots, like a rising shot and so forth. And there was a bit of a wind, but I thought if I keep it at a set level it might be able to cope with it. But anyway, so the footage you're going to be seeing now is me starting to do a bit of a climb up. So you see it rising up, and you can see there is Roseberry Topping in just the near distance there. And I was trying to get a shot where it just flowed all the way up, a nice little slow shot, and just kept going up and up and sort of angle the gimbal to keep that focus. Obviously when I got to a certain height, the wind was sort of hitting it, so it was sort of not keeping it fluid. It was sort of bouncing around, which was understandable when it's windy, especially with a drone that light. And then I was trying to like position it. I wanted to get a few little shots, so it was Roseberry Topping to see that. Then over on the right hand side of that, there's a thing called a shooting box. It's like an 18th century shooting box, sort of associated with Captain Cook. So I was trying to get a little shot of that, which you can see there. But the main thing, what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring the camera up, the drone up, and focus on that, but also wanted to get a nice little point of interest shot where it flowed around. But because I wanted it slow, I put it on cinematic, and obviously I did the sort of selected it on the screen, and then I did it so it's slow. So I wanted a nice, really slow pan round, so you could basically sort of see Roseberry Topping from different sort of heights, and then obviously an above shot. But the problem with that is, as soon as I got up so far, the wind was taking it. So when it was going round, it was going so far along, and then the wind was sort of taking it, and you could see that shudder, which was obviously ruining that fluidity of the shot. So I was trying to do different things, and I thought I'll take it up again. I waited for the wind to sort of lull, and then I started it off, and it was sort of going round, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to keep going and just keep going round until I can get at least 20-30 seconds of a nice fluid shot, as you can see, going round Roseberry Topping. Now all of that was great. I was getting a nice little shot. Obviously it wasn't a long shot, it was just sort of 20-30 seconds just to capture that nice shot of a point of interest. But the wind was sort of taking it along, so even though it was on cinematic, it was going round at whatever cinematic speed would be, sort of a couple of meters per second or whatever, going round. But because of the wind was blowing that way as well, it was carrying the drone faster than it needed to be, which was sort of not what I sort of really wanted, to be honest. I wanted it sort of nice and fluid. But what happens is, as you can see on the footage here, there's like a grey path that goes from the main entrance going all the way up, sort of halfway around, I believe, of Roseberry Topping. And the drone was basically getting blown by the wind, and it was carrying it off. And I was trying to get as much footage as I could, just so I could get a few little decent shots out of that. I think it's around 8 to 10 minutes I filmed, and I think I've got maybe sort of a couple of minutes, if that, of nice fluid shots, sort of rising up or sort of panning round a point of interest shot. But the thing was, as I was filming it, it got so far round and it did the return to home thing, but I thought, well, it's not too far away, I'll cancel that, I'll keep going, and then what I'll do is I'll put it into sports mode and I'll try and fly it back. Now, because of the wind pushing it, and when you're looking on the screen, it doesn't look that far away, but in reality, it was about 2 fields away at this point. If you look at the screen now, you'll see where the drone was, and I'll point out using an arrow of where we actually are in relation to the drone itself. So as you can see, that's where we are in the far distance. Now, as I was panning round and sort of trying to figure out whereabouts I was, I could see there was trees and all sorts of obstacles. There's a plane going overhead at the moment as well, as you might have seen in a minute. I'll try. So hopefully you can hear me over that plane. There's one every about 15 minutes where I live. But yeah, I was trying to figure out exactly where the drone was. So if for some reason it got to the stage where it had to force landing, I knew exactly whereabouts to go. But as I was looking around, I couldn't really fathom out whereabouts I was in relation to where that was. I thought it was in the next field. I could see there was like some pathways, and obviously there was the grey pathway I mentioned a moment ago. But yeah, anyway, I thought I'll put it into sports mode. I'll try and take it back and get it as close to me as I can, so I'm not having to walk long distances. Anyway, sports mode wasn't helping because obviously the wind was going this way. I was flying into the wind, so obviously sports mode, the speed wasn't going the speed it needed to be. Obviously it was being restricted. It was low battery, so it probably wasn't going as fast as it could have been. So then panic set in because I thought I'm going to lose it in a tree, or I'm going to lose it somewhere and I'm not going to be able to find it. Anyway, it got to the stage where it needed to force land. So I tried to get it away from the trees, and I could see it was heading towards sort of a weeded area. So as you can see in the footage now, you can see it's sort of gradually going down, and it sort of focuses on the ground and eventually lands in the field itself. Now, the problem at this stage was it was about 8% battery at this point, and it was landing. And because of the distance of where that was and where I was, I lost signal, so I couldn't actually try and fly it back up and get it a bit nearer. I couldn't do anything in relation to the controller because the controller was flashing. It wouldn't allow me to connect. So I was having to try and walk and find it. I couldn't really figure it out. So that led me to the Find My Drone feature on the DJI Fly App. So I logged into that, and I could see that it was in the distance. Now, when you look on a map and it's sort of pinched in, it doesn't look that far away. I thought, oh, it's just over in the next field, just over, there was like a fence, and then there was another field with trees and stuff. So I started walking into that field, and I was looking on the map, and I was walking, and you could see on the map where the drone was, but it still wasn't connecting. But luckily, when you've got when you go into the Find My Drone app, you've got your map, you've got your little arrow of where your drone is. Now what you do is, even if you haven't got any signal between the controller and the drone itself, if you click on that little triangle of the drone, it'll bring up the last 10 seconds of that drone landing, so at least you can kind of have a look around, see if there's anything familiar, like some trees or like a fence or anything, to kind of familiarize where it could possibly be. So I thought, right, it's not in this field, because the field that was in was all grass and trees, but the next field had sort of dead wood sort of thing on the top of it that you can probably see. I'll put that on now. So I could see that. Anyway, there's 3 of us at this point in time. There was myself and 2 friends. We're trying to find it. I thought it was, when we were walking in this field, I thought it was over there. So I was like holding that. Eventually it connected again. And when it connects, you can use, there's a button on the bottom that basically lets it flash or beep. Obviously having it flashing during the day was a bit of a pointless exercise. So what I did is I pushed that button and it beeps. And what we did is I went down the middle, one friend went to the right, one friend went to the left, and we just started walking. We're quiet, listening out for it, and eventually you could hear it beeping. We managed to get it, obviously, because then I can get the footage that you've seen now. But it was just a godsend to have that particular feature on the app, because even though you've lost signal, you can't connect, you can't get your drone back up to bring it any closer, you've got the map of where it landed, and you've also got the last 10 seconds, so at least you can see roughly where it is. So that is a godsend. But yeah, it's a great sort of little feature. So if you are worried about losing your drone, you've got that bit of reassurance that if you were to lose it in anywhere, you've got that last 10 seconds, you've got a bit of a map. You can also go on Google Maps if you've got a signal on your phone. And when you go on that, it gives you, it's not like a GPS, you can actually, it'll direct you, it'll say it's 100 meters or it's 10 meters this way. So it's just another way of looking at it rather than sort of scrolling on that particular map. But I just thought I'd show you that because it was just something that came out of nowhere. I was trying to think of ideas, and obviously I thought I'd lost my drone. I couldn't get a signal, and I thought to myself, I'm just gonna have to leave it and get another one from DJI. But luckily we searched for it, looked on the map, used the feature in DJI Fly App, Find My Drone, and managed to get it and retrieve it, so it's all safe and well. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like, give it a comment, and let us know if you've used the Find My Drone feature and how you've got on with that. Consider subscribing, it helps me massively, pushing my video out there, and gets lovely subscribers such as yourself if you subscribe. Anyway, I'll leave you with a little bit more of that footage of Roseberry Topping, and if you want to check out my hike, it's on my channel. Anyway, thanks for supporting me, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.